Hello everyone, welcome back to SAT Math Question of the Day. So here's our question. Please try it, pause the video, come back, and we'll hopefully offer some approaches on how to do it and actually do it. Okay, Owen answered a set of math and history quiz bowl questions. Owen answered correctly 72% of the 200 questions. However, Owen answered 53.3% of the math questions correctly. If 45% of the questions were math, what percent of history questions did Owen answer correctly? Okay. This is a more complicated, advanced percent question. Just to be practical about this, if you're not sure how to do percents and it's sort of complicated, I would skip this question.
I call it a fraction question.
Yes.
And what are percents?
Wait. Let's go over the strategy. If this problem...
What is a percent?
Seth, first strategy. If this problem...
Well, okay, don't call it a percent question. Call it a fraction question.
Seth, you're not getting the point. If this question is causing you a lot of trouble, I would skip it on the first round.
All right.
Okay, Seth. Okay.
Okay, this is now second round.
This is the second round. Seth is absolutely correct. This is more of a fraction question. And in fraction questions, I need to annotate. In fraction questions, it's nice. Seth likes when I use a thinner. Well, I don't forget it. It's nice to have so annoying how that. Yeah. Okay. It's nice to have that is.
Okay. So let's see what's in the story. It's about somebody answering questions. There are two types of questions, and some were answered correctly, some were not. Now it's only about one person.
Right.
No, that thought came to me in reading it. So I suggest you follow your nose. Write down what I would suggest using algebra. Write symbols for any of the quantities you can identify. Write their relationships. Their relationships involve, like, one symbol, one number is a fraction of another number, and the fraction is given by percent.
Right.
And then you solve.
Okay, so the way I approach this, Seth's right. I would make a pot. I would make a pot of things, right? Okay, Owen answered 72% of all the 200 questions. So the pot is 200 questions. He answered 72% of them correctly. So that amount, how do we actually do it? What is 72% of 200? Let's get some numbers in there. So it's 200 times 0.72. So he answered correctly 144 questions. Very good, Seth. Okay. However,
and there are 200 altogether.
Right. Now, however,
so there are 56 questions.
Exactly.
That were answered incorrectly.
Okay. Now, Owen answered
144 questions answered correctly.
Okay. Owen answered 53.3% of the math questions correctly.
Okay, so we have a separate pot.
We have a separate pot.
How do we know which are math and which are history?
We don't. But they tell you if 45% of the questions were math. So we assume that's 45% of the total questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if 45% of the total questions were math, how many questions are math? Well, that would be if 45 over 100, if 45%, and we have 200 questions, then we know that it's really 45% of 20, right? 0.45 times, of 200. 200 is 90. So there are 90 questions in math. There are 90 math questions, so this pot is 90, right? Is that right?
Okay, I'd rather not think of them as pot 90
90 questions in that.
math.
Right.
Then my number of math questions is 90.
90. So at
There are
50.
now there are lots of things you could figure out. The number of history questions. The number of history questions is therefore the difference,
Right.
110. Okay, now what do you know?
That's right.
We use uh he answered 55.3% of the math questions correctly.
Right.
So the number of math questions answered correctly, number of math questions answered correctly is 53.33% of 90.
Which happens to be 47.97, which is not very good. I mean, you would want it to be an even number, but it's 47.97.
That's 48.
Yeah, 48. Yeah.
48 questions. So 48 questions of math were answered correctly. And the question is how many history questions were answered correctly. So oh gosh, this is confusing.
It is confusing. It is confusing.
So we have to figure out strategy to get the number of history questions answered. To get the percentage of history questions, we know the number of history questions, so we need to figure out the number answered correctly.
That's right.
And then take the quotient.
Exactly. Now, what is this? Owen answered 72% of the 200 questions. How did we use that? We used that to get the 110.
Yeah. That was it.
No, we didn't use that to 110. We used that to get the 144.
So that's the number of questions answered correctly.
That's right. The number of questions. That's the total number of questions answered correctly. But now, in other words, we have to assume that the test is just math and history. Yes, it says math and history, right? But this is the total number of questions answered correctly. We know the number of math questions answered correctly, so the difference between them is the number of questions, the number of history questions answered correctly.
Plus the.
So we know.
No, I'm not sure about that.
Right. What percent of history questions did he answer correctly? Oh. What percent of history? When it says what percent of history questions? So in other words, number of history, as Seth said, the denominator has to be number of history, and the top one has to be correct history, right?
Yeah.
So let's start filling stuff in. How many history questions are there? There's 110. How many questions correct would be the total minus the math, right? The total number of questions answered correctly minus the
answered correctly. Okay.
Minus the math questions answered correctly. Total correct.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So this is the formula. So it's nice to think about this, like to write it out, because it is a very confusing thing.
Okay, right? Good.
So now
very good. So I think to the benefit of our audience, please rewrite this mush.
Oh, absolutely.
On the upper right corner.
What I need to
do
is,
so everyone could read it.
Yes. It's just
nobody remembers what you said.
I totally
it's complete
agree.
Mush.
I totally agree.
So
I'm
write
just trying
it.
To figure out
the number. Okay. Let's.
It's so unbelievably annoying. How do I get this thing out of my screen? Please help me. Okay, fine. Oh, just sorry. Zoom changed this crazy. Zoom. Boy, this is, as my daughter would say, I'm on the struggle bus today. Zoom changed the. How do you change? Okay, let's write it neatly. Ready? The answer to this question is the final answer to this question is total history correct over number of history. Okay, so we'll have to write it. Oh God, here. Total
That is
history. That is correct.
so here number.
Divided by. No, just history correct. History correct. Divided by total history. Okay.
Can I erase your thing?
Try, please, please, please. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just erase that thing.
You can't. I can't erase your
Okay,
junk.
sorry. Okay, there we go.
Erase. Yeah. Okay. Good. Excellent.
Now we have some serious space.
Yeah. Erase. That says number history. I wrote number history at the top.
Yeah,
Please erase the junk to the right and say correct instead.
Got it.
Shall I do it?
No, I got it. Correct. Total history. Total number of history questions. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Now the numerator, you can write the numerator as a difference. That's what you erase. That's the mush that you erased.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, the total number of history correct is total correct.
No, number of history correct.
Yeah, total correct minus math correct.
Okay. Ah, there you go. Yeah, total correct. What? Tattle?
This is unbelievable. Oh, God, why is Zoom so non-intuitive? Okay. Total correct minus math correct. Okay. Got it?
Again. You have to get a better writing system.
I do, but I can't. That's just stupid. I don't know if you see what I'm dealing with here. Okay, fine. You're right. I do. You're right. This is a mess. Erase. Okay, ready? Here we go. Total correct. Minus math correct. Divided by total number of history questions. Okay? And that's the answer. That's the answer. Now we just have to plug the numbers in. Okay?
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So we know the total number of history questions is 110. Right? So, total number of questions is 110. So, why don't we just erase this stuff? I'll put this in. Okay, so the total number of questions is 110.
Yeah. You wrote 100.
I know. Now, math correct, total correct. Total correct, wasn't that 144? Because it was 72% of 200.
Okay, yes.
So that's 144. Now, the total of math correct. Wasn't the total of math correct 53% of the 45% of 200? Right? The
Yeah.
45% of 200 is 90. The 53.3% is about half. About half. Little more than half. A little more than half of 90 is 48. So 48. Okay? Because if you
Yeah.
do in the calculator, 0.533 times 90 is some weird number. It's not an exact number, which is not very satisfying. 53.533. That's what it is. 0.533 times 90 is only 47.97, which has to be 48. So that's the answer. So should we try it? See if it works. See if we agree. If what we get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 96 divided by 110 is 0.8727. And they want it to the whole percent. So it'd be 87%. Is that agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Seth's right. This is more of a fraction question than anything else. Okay, should we try it? Should we see whether it is if that,
Yeah.
okay.
Let's try it.
Okay, so
I don't have I don't feel much confidence, but give it a shot.
I agree, and I apologize,
Should
everyone.
we check it again or just take our chances and see how we...
Why don't we check it? Well, we think the answer is 80. We think the answer is 87%. So let's just quickly try to redo it, right? The answer is 72% of all the 200 questions. Now, why don't we just check it? Okay. 87. And again, the problem here, and I have to fix this on Zoom, is Zoom changed the way they do their things. Okay, check. Oh my God, we did get it right.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's see how we answered the question. 6 of 6 steps.
All right, 6 steps.
Well, it's an involved problem. This is why, if you're not sure how to do this problem, again, I said at the beginning, I would skip it and come back to it later. Okay, let's see how they did. We know the set of questions was comprised of math and history only, right? So we can say, good, see how they're doing it in English. Math plus history is total questions. Because only 40% of the questions were math, then they knew that 110 questions were history, right? We needed to know that. Let's see how many math questions he answered. Owen answered 53%, which is about 48. Okay. Because Owen answered 72% of the total questions right, he answered correctly 144. So, they do it exactly the way we did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. In these problems, it certainly was nice to have that formula that Seth had me rewrite a few times, which really is this one here, total history, and then history correct. And then history correct is total correct minus math correct. And then if you have this as the backbone, if you sort of start with this, which is, we probably should have just started with this. Well, we sort of did. In the middle, we wrote this. This is the backbone of the problem.
Yeah.
Then it's just a question of putting all the numbers in. What do you think of writing something like this in the middle of the question? They put it at the end of the question. But what do you think of the idea of in the middle of the question, like when you're just trying to figure out what to do, writing something like this down to help you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See, they didn't do that. They only did it at the end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but each of the, total, each of these things, each of these 3 quantities, you had to figure out with a different calculation.
It's called a multi-part word problem.
Yeah.
A multi-part problem, right? This problem had at least 4 steps. At least four
Yeah.
steps. Five steps. Not like at least 4 steps. The
Yeah.
first step is actually writing this down. This is the answer. Oh, times 100, right? The final answer is times 100. So that's one step. And then each of these is a step. Total correct is a step. Math correct is a step. Total history is a step. This is a massively multi-part word question, which is why it felt so heavy, so
Yeah.
complicated when we read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
something to recognize, is that recognize a multi-step word problem when it comes up, and recognize what do you have to do. You have to do each step. You have to do one step at a time, but it's really helpful to have the whole strategy written out so that you have perspective as to where to put the numbers after you find them.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Well, I'm sorry
Yeah.
that we really messed this up in terms of explaining it. It took a while. It took a while to figure out this is what's going to happen in a multi-step word problem. And again, I have to figure out what to do with zoom. This is the problem. I can't even change the color. I have to figure. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Oh. You see, when you're concentrating on one thing, you can't find the other. Right? Okay, got it. Okay, everyone. So we've completely embarrassed ourselves today. This is Seth. He's shockingly a PhD in math from MIT. You wouldn't believe it, but he is. The way we were today. He's a professor emeritus at University of Albany, teaching computer science. I have a PhD in mechanical engineering, also, if you could believe that, the way I did the problem today. And we are here, hopefully, to show different approaches on how to do SAT math questions. In terms of studying for the math SAT, we suggest you go through the Khan Academy courses, either the digital or non-digital, depending on which test you're planning to take. And please email, if you have any SAT math questions you want to ask us, please email them to us at satmathquestionoftheday@gmail.com. We strongly encourage comments on our videos so we get some feedback. And I have my project, which is figure out how to restore Zoom so I don't get this silly thing annoying us. See how it's just blocking everything? So I don't know if you see that, but you don't see my little toolbar blocking the questions.
No.
I have to figure out how to get that out of there. Okay, everyone. So I guess that's it, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
we got through it. But yet again, this is what happens when you have a multi-step word problem. You do sort of get lost, which is okay. Just try to get back on track. Okay, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah.